because this collage, these pictures have a lot to do with the policies and racial disparities and impacts that's happening to people of color, immigrants, healthcare services, etc. When you all take a look at these photos right here, what do you all see? Take 2 minutes to look at these photos, and just a few of you come off and tell me what you all see in a few of these pictures. A world where there's continuous institutional, systemic, and structural racism. I'm just going to go through them a little bit. Institutional racism is discriminatory policies, practices, and procedures embedded within institutions. This is whether in your school system, with your law enforcement. We see it with law enforcement all the time on the news, even with the Trayvon Martin case. The workplaces, healthcare, your government. When it comes to healthcare, think about Black women when it comes to maternal child health. Their doctors not believing them when they're in pain. They're thinking that they're being dramatic. They're having to go long distances just to see a good OBGYN that will listen to them. Systemic racism. It's a broad, interconnected system of racial discrimination that operates across multiple institutions and sectors of society, reinforcing racial inequities over time. This means that whether it's schools, workplaces, law enforcement, healthcare, and government, it's all systems. They combine together. Some of them are working together. In these, you got to think, in these places, you may have a board that's in the state. You may have a board of everyone that works in all these different sectors, whether it's schools, hospitals, federal government agencies, and you got to think if the board is all of one race, and sometimes when it's all of older white males or older white women, they have a mindset that comes from a time where things are different. But in order to change those things in a systemic process, you got to have people who come from different walks of life, whether it's immigrants, LGBTQ persons, people who used to be homeless, people who have a abuse background. These things help to shape our constitutional rights, what policies are enforced, and what needs to happen in our government sector for people to have adequate policies that will reflect good upon them, whether it's for Medicaid, TANF, food stamps, Medicare, Social Security, equal job opportunities. These things come from having the right people in these public and private sectors to discuss what needs to happen to protect the rights of all people, but especially the people who are systemically oppressed. You have structurally racism, a framework that examines how historical, social, political, and economic systems work together to sustain racial inequalities. When you think of the structure of things, you have to look at the structure now and what was going on in the presidency in the 1960s. What's this going on then? You have to remember too that we still have constitutions and laws that are in place that was embedded into the United States in the early 1900s. They may not be discussed all the time, but you see it a lot in court when people are fighting cases where they're going back, well, in 1922, this law was put into place, and since it has not been canceled out, deleted, etc., we can use this now to bring back desegregation. We can use this now to where women can't vote.